What's up, YouTube? We're back with another vlog. I had a bunch of different intros for this one, but I decided to crunch it all up because we had a lot of sessions this week and not good. So cumulatively, we took a huge hit to the bankroll. So we're going to step back a bit from poker, reset our mental, untilt, all the good stuff, and we don't really have much time anyways with the job and other stuff on the schedule. There's been a lot of things in the personal life that have been getting in the way too, so we're probably going to be stepping back a bit from poker because of that. But I want to share with you 52's huge tournament series that's coming up. It's going to be around the screen right now. Here we go, 52 Social Houston Poker Tournament Series schedule. We got a lot of money to be won, a lot of poker to be played. We have PLO tournaments, Bomb Pot No Limit Hold'em tournaments. We have Omaha 5-card tournaments, Omaha High-Low tournaments, round of each tournaments. We have our big tournaments, which are going to be the 90K bracelet event and the 120K bracelet event. Both tournaments will be awarding a bracelet custom made for you guys, and the final table will also be getting iPads. So come on down. A lot of good tournament schedules, a lot of tournaments to be played, a lot of money to be won. I'll see you guys at 52 Social Poker. I'll be dealing some of these tournaments. Don't be shy, say hi, and I hope you guys can win some money. Good luck to everyone, and on to the vlog. Alright, so let's start the vlog off on a positive note and go downhill from there. We are in our first hand, literally, of this entire week session. This is literally the first hand. We buy the button, and we're in the small blind with pocket nines. Under the gun +1, under the gun +2. The cutoff all limp it. We make it 18 with pocket nines. The under the gun, the +1, both call and everyone else folds. Flop comes pretty good. It's Queen 9-3, Heart Spade Club. We make it $30 right away. Under the gun calls and the +1 folds. Turn comes a King of Diamonds. We bet 50 into 120. Under the gun bets 150. We put them all in for about 300 effective. They call. The river comes A7. We show pocket nines, and they show King Queen for the turn 2 pair. So this is probably the only winning hands you'll see, except maybe one other winning hand where we had to brute force our way in. Alright, in this next hand we have Ace King off in the under the gun +1. Our villain in his hand is going to be on the button straddle for 6. He's also a dealer at 52 Social. He just came off the PLO tables after leaving our Hold'em table, and he's pretty tilted. We opened at 30 after the undergun limps. It gets back to him in the button straddle, and he raises it up all the way to a 100. We call with Ace King off here. I think it's possible that we could 4-bet him here with Ace King off, but we're pretty deep. He still has 300 behind. If he jams it, I guess we have to call and flip and hope it's a flip. Flop comes 9 high, which isn't any good. So when I check to him, he ends up putting 200 in. I know we should either be ripping it here or folding, obviously. Obviously leaning more towards a fold, but he's been playing so crazy that it's just so weird for him to be doing this. He could have anything on the button straddle. He could have literally a 9, 8, or I don't remember what the other card was, deuce, but he could have paired the board and be applying most pressure and protecting his hand. So not sure what he could be doing it with, so we ultimately decide to let go of our overpairs, and he shows us King Queen. This will play into the next hand. So in this next hand, we're against our villain friend over there again. We have King 10 of Hearts in the small blind. He opens up in early position to $13. The next player to act also calls. I think we have an easy call with the suited king, King 10 specifically in this spot. In the small blind, we can always 3-bet here, but I'm fine with just making the call here. We make the call, we go 3 ways to flop, comes 10-9-3, 2 clubs and a spade. We check it, assuming the initial aggressor is going to bet, which he does in fact do. He bets $30 into the $42 pot. The next player to act also calls. We're not going to let them make their own price if they do have a club draw or a straight draw. So we pop it up with the check raise to 130. Our friend over there thinks about it for a while and re-pops it up to a new number, which is $330. So it's $200 more. The next player to act folds, of course, and after him showing us that he made that move with King Queen in the previous hand, and him being on tilt, I think we have an easy jam here. It's either jam or fold because we're not going to call and then just be in this weird spot on the turn. If he has it, he has it, and if he's making a move, he's obviously going to shut down. So we do jam for the 200 that he has left behind, and he shows us pocket fives and ends up folding. So yeah, we take it down, and pretty good pot, pretty right read. Yeah, on to the next one. I think my lag approach to the game starts costing me a lot moving forward in the majority of these hands, but we'll get into them. We are under the gun with Big Slick offsuit in a new session of 52. The under the gun +1 calls us, and we go heads up to a flop, which comes ace 6 7, 2 clubs. We go for value and bet $15. The under the gun, weirdly enough, min clicks us to $30. I don't know if I like my raise here, but I do pop it up to 100. Trying to figure out where I'm at with top, if I'm beat or not. So he does call pretty quickly, actually snap calls us when we race 100. So alarm bells should be going off in my head that he has either 2 pair or a set here. Turns comes a 5, which is no good for us either. But I don't, step on the brakes, and I bet 200 and 234. Here, I regret this decision for sure. I should be checking here a majority of the time after he snap calls us on the flop when we 3-bet. But obviously, it is what it is. I bet 200. He tanks for a really long time, and he ends up making the call. So when he's tanking here, I feel like he should be weak, but after putting in so much money, there's no way he's folding for the 160 he has left behind. When the river comes a 9 of clubs, a flush draw gets there, and I put him all in. He tanks for a while, doesn't like that card, but he does ultimately make the call, and he shows a 6-7 offsuit for the flop 2 pair. So don't like my line on the turn or river, but it is what it is, and we lose a big stack. So in this next hand, we have table change to a deeper stack table. There's about 2 other stacks that have around 2,500, and the other stack has about 3,500. So we added on to match about to $3,000. So we're basically 3,000 effective. In this hand, we open with King Jack spades under the gun to $20. 3 callers call. Sorry, 3 people call. And the small blind, big blind fold. So we go 4 ways to flop, which comes King 8 5 2 clubs. Pretty decent flop for us. I want to bet big right out the gate to figure out where my king is and hopefully just take it down. We could obviously go for value, but I don't want to let 3 other people in for cheap to continue with the flush draw. So we bet 80 into 84. The low jack calls us, who is the deeper stacked player, and the other players fold. So we're going deep stack to the turn of the deuce of spades. So pot's now 244. We turn more equity with the king high flush draw. So now we're going to go for more value and charge him for maybe weaker hands or hands that we might need to catch up on anyways. 2 pair hands, sets, and so on and so forth. So we bet 100 into 244. He tanks and thinks for a bit, raises us to $300. So I think at this point we're clearly beat, or he's trying to steal the pot playing deep stack. Either way, we're going to be calling here 100% of the time with the king high flush draw and the pair of kings for $200 more into the $500 pot or so. So we do end up calling. The river comes a queen of diamonds. Pot's 844. We check it here, looking to check call. He ends up betting $650, so this is super polarizing to where he either has a really strong hand or he has nothing, right? So during the time, I thought that a hand like club draws could be bluffing here. And obviously there's more value hands here than there are club draws, looking back at it in hindsight. So in hindsight, I know this is a fold for sure. We lose to ace king, king queen. We chop with king jack. We lose to limp hands that would have been calling us after our pre-flop raise. So 8s and 5s sets, obviously. There's no deuces here, of course. That would be calling us on the flop and then set mining for the turn. So we lose to 8s, 5s, ace, king, king, queen, kings, of course, which we're blocking, and chopping with king, jack. But the only hands that we beat here are specifically club draw hands. So I think in hindsight this is an easy fold, but playing deep stack, I think it got into my mind that he could be bluffing or taking advantage of the stacks, and I ended up calling thinking that king jack was good enough to bluff catch, and he shows us pocket 5s for the flop set. So this is a heavy hit to us, and yeah, this one sucks, but what can you do? You guys can leave a comment on what your thoughts are, if my hindsight thinking is correct, and this should be an easy fold. Thanks. So for our last 3 hands, I just want to showcase how I'm running bad, and playing bad too. But in this hand, we have pocket 9s on the button, the +1, low jack, hijack, cutoff, all limp. We're not going to let them all in for cheap. We want to just try to take this dead money down if possible. We pop it to $20, small blind, big blind fold, and then the other 4 players call. So we got rid of no one. 5 players to the flop, comes 10, 9, deuce. All diamonds. Not a super great flop, but it's a pretty good flop for us. When it checks to us, we're going to bet big into the pot, try to get charged diamond draws, and get value for our flop set. We bet 70 into 104, and only the hijack calls. He's a pretty sticky call station. The turn comes the 8 of hearts. It's heads up now. He checks to us. We want to go for a value and also continue charging those diamond draws. If he had the jack queen, then he has the jack queen. We bet $100 into the $244 pot, and he ends up calling us. Here comes a 7 of clubs. Really bad card for us. He checks us. If he was trapping us, then there's no reason for us to bet. We're not getting called by any worse at this point, so we check it back to him, and he ends up showing pocket jacks for the runner straight. Yeah, it is what it is. It sucks, and yeah, go from an 80% favorite to a 70% favorite. Yep, on to the next one. In this next hand, we have pocket 8s, otherwise known as a snowman. The under the gun +1 makes it $25. We can go set mining here. So we make the call, the cutoff calls, and the small blind calls, the big blind folds. So you go 4 ways to a flop, which comes 10, 6, 4, 1 club, 2 spades. Not too bad for our hand. The +1 C bet 60 into 103. He could be trying to just take down the dead money in this spot. So I decided to raise it up to 170. There's merit into sizing up into a pot size bet, which would be around probably 200, say 240, 260. But we don't make it as big as I would like. Only 90 more than his bet. He ends up tanking, asking if we have a set or something, and he ends up making the call. The turn brings the deuce of spades. He checks it to us and slows down. I decided to continue my bet and line here, but I don't like my sizing. I bet 150 into a $443 pot, and he has about 350 behind. I would much prefer either just jamming here in this spot or just checking it back and shutting down. So I do bet 150, and I don't like the sizing at all. He tanks for a bit more and ends up making the call. The river is a complete blank in the 3 of diamonds. He checks it to us, and at this point I should probably just shut it down and not bet anymore. But I, stupidly enough, jam his 200 effective, and he says if you have it, you have it, and calls with jacks, pocket jacks with the jack of spades. So he obviously makes the right call, but I don't like my sizing on the turn and forcing myself into that position on the river, so I think we need to just jam it in on the turn or shut down completely. Yeah, poorly played hand by us, and yeah, you can leave a comment and, you know, give me affirmation that I played it incorrectly and my thinking of how I played it incorrectly is right, you know. On to the next hand. So let's end it on a sick one. In his hand, we are under the gun +1 with pocket fives. The new player just sat down and bought the button, so he's in the small blind. Big blind limps $3. We make it $20. The cutoff calls, small blind calls, and big blind calls. So we go 4 ways to flop, which comes 5, 7, king, club, heart, spade. So we flop a set, bottom set. Pretty good for us. Small blind, big blind, check it to us. We're going to continue for $40, charging any king hand, king X hand. Weirdly enough, all 3 people call. I guess everyone has a king. Turn comes a jack of hearts. Shouldn't change too much about our hand, at least. Small blind bets $50. Actually leads out, weirdly enough. Big blind also weirdly calls. We're not going to let them continue for that cheap if there's 2 other people in the hand now. So we pop it up to $200. The cutoff folds. Small blind calls and big blind folds, so weird spot to be in for his first hand. The river comes at 8 of diamonds. He only has $40 behind. Pot's $690. Yeah, he goes all in for $40. We have an easy call here. We show our pocket fives, assuming it's good, and nope. He decides to show us 4-6 spades for the rivered straight. He was open-ended, called all the way down. I guess we're playing for stacks. It is what it is. After this hand, we decide to rack up because we clearly just can't win a hand, or yeah, we're just running bad. So this is our last hand before we decide to just take a break from poker, you know? Sometimes it is what it is. So yeah, that vlog was an absolute massacre of my bankroll. I played poorly and ran super bad, as you guys saw. But aside from that, I hope I was able to provide some entertainable content for you guys. I'll see you guys on the next one, hopefully in a week or so. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, you know, berate me on how poorly I played and all the mistakes I made, because I know I made a lot of mistakes. Aside from that, I hope to see you guys for the 52 Social Poker Tournament Circuit. $330,000 guaranteed in the prize pool across all the events, starting next Friday, running to the beginning of November. See you guys at 52 Social. Bye.